Hey gang, it's buyer month time, and sorry I've been a little bit behind. Lots of stuff, lots of great stuff going on, and I hope you all have great stuff going on in your worlds as well. We're in my favorite month of the year. I love December, and so in thinking of buyers, I wanted to see how I could lay this out where it really made the most sense and we could kind of build on some things. I talked about how I really like and enjoy working with buyers. So what I decided to do was tonight I am going to do a very shortened version, don't get nervous, of my 3-hour CE course called Let's Play Ball, a systemized approach to working with buyers. I'm going to do a very condensed version, but I will go ahead and load the presentation itself so that you'll actually be able to download it. It's a PowerPoint, and you'll be able to go back in and spend a little more time on each of the slides. So I'm going to lay out the concept of the baseball approach to working with buyers and explain how it works. And then I'm going to give a homework assignment based off of that. I'll be loading all kinds of great documents and checklists and information and ideas for you moving forward in the group over the next several weeks. So again, we're going to be capping out on December 31st, but I will give you a homework assignment tonight for those of you that are working with buyers. One thing to think about, and in moving forward, each leg of the bases, or each first to second to third and back home, each leg has a specific strategy. So what I'll try to do over the next several weeks is lay out some tips and tools and strategies based off of where your buyer is in the process. So hopefully it'll make a lot more sense after you see it. So I'm going to flip up the presentation now. I'm going to go a little bit quicker than I normally would, obviously. We don't have 3 hours, and who would want to sit and watch this for 3 hours? Nobody. So let's go ahead and let me do that now so it'll make a little more sense for you. I'm going to share my screen and pull up my presentation. And again, this is actually a CE class that I do here in Georgia for CE credit. And I've done a condensed version via webinar before in about an hour and a half. But anyway, it's called Let's Play Ball. And as you can see from the screen, the whole premise behind this is to effectively communicate with your buyer clients based on where they are in the buying process. And each leg of these bases has a specific strategy and a skill set that is designed and programmed for you to provide a very high level of service with your buyer clients so that you can deepen that relationship, minimize frustration, and really help them through a quality transaction that they're super excited to refer to other people. So as you'll notice, you know, it really starts out with the dugout, and the dugout is your database. So we kind of have that as the stands, the stadium surrounding the baseball field. These are people that you're hopefully communicating with on a regular basis, providing value, putting in the time, the effort, the energy to stay in flow with leads, current clients, past clients, friends, family, etc. So your dugout, you're kind of waiting at home plate for someone to raise their hand and say, hey, I have a need to purchase a home. Hopefully you're doing proactive and intentional things that are causing people to then want to inquire about the buying process with you. And there's tons of strategies for that, and I'll be laying out those strategies, such as things that we just did today at my office open house, and it was super fun. But anyway, so we're going to do things to our dugout, advertising and other things that are going to cause people to say, hey, it's time for me to move and I want to inquire with you. So as soon as we have an inquiry come up, that's when we consider them standing at home base. So they're at the plate, they put their bat in their hand, and they're like, hello, I'm here and I want to buy a house. I want to find out more. The whole issue about the baseball diamond is that we effectively communicate with people where they are in the buying process so that we're not rushing them when they might just be in the inquiry stage. So the engagement process is very important. So as soon as somebody gets to home plate, that's when from home to first, you're in the rapport building stage. So you're building rapport. This is all about conversion. So those of you that are taking the momentum courses, the buyer conversion would come into place here, setting up your strategy session, letting them know that you have a proactive and intentional plan that not only help your clients find the home they want, but more importantly, want the home they get. So this is all about using the buyer criteria sheet and making sure that they understand the difference between a need and a want. So using that buyer criteria sheet is critical with working with all of your clients, understanding what their monthly payment is. I always tell people, don't ask people the price range. You know, the price range doesn't mean anything to half the people out there. They haven't figured out the numbers yet. They don't really know. They're probably looking at a higher price than what's really necessary. If they're doing FHA, they're going to have PMI. Their payments are going to be what dictates what they buy. People live in the payment, not in the price. So I hope you'll get in the habit of asking people, hey, what do you want? What do you want your monthly payment to be? Where you can still go out to dinner, still go on vacation, and you're not house poor. The last thing I would want for any of my clients to do is to overbuy. That's painful. Speaking like that to people is very, very attractive. The fact that you don't want people to overbuy, that you're taking time to make sure that they are living within their means and that they have the ability to go on vacations and go out to dinner and go to the movies and buy new clothes or whatever it is that they need or want, is really important, and it's actually very attractive to people. So look, protect your clients. And the way you can do that is by effectively using the buyer criteria sheet to have them analyze what is a need versus a want so that they don't overbuy. So you're building all this, you're explaining the process. You're then telling them your lender is going to contact them. So don't get into the qualifying process too early. I think it's very important that you're willing to invest 20 to 30 minutes with someone before you even know whether or not they can buy lunch, let alone a house. If you invest time in people, they'll be very loyal. So don't go right in for the, are you qualified? Have you talked to a lender yet? That's like nails on a chalkboard to people. Finances are very personal, and typically if their credit has to be pulled, there's a story that's coming with it that they really might not want to talk about. Not everybody has perfect credit. So you have to use some sensitivity and just use different words. I used to just say, hey, how much do you want your monthly payment to be? And we got to figure out your buying power. Like, buying power sounds so much better. I love when people say, hey, are you going to be paying cash or do you need to get a loan? Always assume that they could pay cash. Even if they couldn't, most people are like, oh, I wish I could pay cash. And you can make a joke, say, I wish I could too. Like, one day I'm going to be debt free like Dave Ramsey or whatever. But just be careful with those terms. When I hear, are you qualified? I cringe. I'm in real estate and I cringe when I hear that. It's just, I don't know. We make it sound like, oh, if you're not qualified, we're not going to help you. We should be willing to help people no matter where they are in the process. Maybe they can't buy now, but maybe they can buy in 6 months. You need to be the option whenever they're ready to purchase. So I hope you'll kind of think about your process. David Knox is so funny. When you lay out the questions, what are questions you would ask for a buyer? And he'll go around the room. Like, what's a question you should ask the buyer? How long have you been looking? When do you need to be into your house by? Are you pre-qualified? And he'll give a number as to what number he thinks that question should be. And invariably, it's so funny. Someone will say, or have you been pre-approved? He's like, yeah, that's question 47. It's like, that's so far down the way. You've got to figure out who these people are, what they want, what makes them tick, why are they looking to buy, where do they work, where do they hang out, what are their hobbies. Invest in people. If you'll invest in people, they'll become very loyal. I'm not going to become loyal to someone who doesn't give a rip about who I am, what I want, and where I'm trying to go. So take that interest, and I hope that if you are asking the qualifying question, I hope that you'll put that to the end of your list and invest in people. So Home to First is all about building rapport, establishing needs, explaining the process, setting expectations, setting up that strategy session. Then I encourage you to have your lender call them or have several lenders call them. Rather than having them have to make the phone call, we're in the service industry. I truly believe that we should be making all the outgoing phone calls. So take that off their plate. Just find out a time when they'll have 20 minutes that they can chat. And I would tell them, listen, 99% of the reason that homes don't close is because of financing. So since you're not going to be paying cash, I would like for you to speak to someone that has a proven track record with myself and my clients and our office. And if he says you can buy a house, you can buy a house. You're not going to get all committed, spend all kinds of money to then find out that they're going to sell off the loan and try to broker it and .com this and that. Local lenders are key, and that's why I recommend that you speak with my person. And I would love to have them go ahead and call you. When would you have? About 20 minutes? That's about all they'll need to get the ball rolling. We can get the process started. So I encourage you to try that approach. It works very well. Plus, you're now taking, you know when they're going to be called. They'll say, okay, I'll call. They're not going to call. They have things that come up. And now you're waiting for them to make that call, which they might be nervous. They might have call aversion. They don't know who they're calling. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to ask. So we need to be providing the service every step of the way. Then from first to second, you'll notice that's when they are actually getting fully approved. So they're submitting their documentation. They're figuring out what payment there's going to be. They're making sure that they can get approved. They're checking out their work history. They're submitting the documentation so that you're in a position to make an offer. You really can't make an offer unless the lender has already gone through this, because there's several things that you need to find out. Loan type, down payment, where it's coming from, how much is the down payment, how many days that lender needs to close the loan, how many days for the financing contingency. There are things that you have to have. So even if they already have a lender, you would still need to make that phone call and have that conversation with the lender. And I have a form here that you can use to make sure you have the following information before you even show properties. So you're setting them up on a search based off of their needs and wants, and they can look online, they can drive around some communities, whatever. But you really need to be setting that expectation that, listen, if we walk into a house that you want to make an offer on, we have to make sure that we have all our ducks in a row. One, it might be a multiple offer situation, and every agent is going to ask for an approval letter. So we want to just set that expectation. And then from second to third is when you're actually out viewing properties. So you're showing properties, you're maybe making offers, you're evaluating values for them, you're doing all the fun realtor stuff, right? You're continuing your rapport building, but now it's where the rubber hits the road and you're actually viewing properties. So it's good to set those expectations right up front. Listen, as soon as you're approved or we're on our way there and we have a good sense on how your mortgage is going to go and what kind of financing, and we have that information, then we can actually start to go out and view properties. And it's really exciting. And we'll be in a position for you to win rather than to find something that you absolutely love and then find out that either you can't purchase right now or it's in the wrong price point. So we kind of follow the system. And then from third to home is when you're actually under contract, and here's where you'd be doing all your client care activities. So you're under contract, you're making sure all the contingency dates are adhered to, making sure that the inspections go the way they're supposed to go, all that good stuff. So that's kind of when you get into a lot of stuff that you can delegate, hopefully, to someone else in the contract to close area. And then they come back to home. And so when they're back at home, now they go back in the dugout. And now what is your follow-up with them to secure 3 more referrals from that client within the next 6 months, which is hopefully everyone's proactive and intentional goal. So I'm going to go through some of these a little bit quick. And again, I'm going to put up this whole presentation. This is actually my CE course. This is a little shortened version, but for the most part. So the object of the game is it starts with your dugout, right? So we want to make sure that you have people that are regularly referring you to your business. And then we're going to systematically move them around the diamond until they move home. So again, we talked about the dugout, and the dugout's your gold mine. I'm going to talk about top 100 and the top 100 way for you to follow up with the core people in your database. That's all you need is a top 100. And if you're new to the industry or new to the area that you live, you can start with a core 40. So your top 40 people. And I'm going to show you how to systematically stay in flow with these people so that you can proactively generate way more referrals than you might be waiting for. And then, so home to first, again, it's an A, B, or C. So I want you to go back. Part of your homework assignment is going to be to go back to your entire database. And I want you to think about who would be the next people to move, who would be the next people to buy, who was an internet lead that came in at some point, whether it was through the Reliance Lead Street, through Remax.com, whatever, that you have not helped buy a house, but they came in as a buyer inquiry. And I want you to drill down and have a real reality reality check on how many people you have not followed up with in your database. And you're going to have to go in and do that. You're going to have to make those hard phone calls. You're going to have to determine who's an A, B, or a C in your database that didn't buy a home yet, you don't know who they are, or maybe it's someone that's been living in their house for 6 or 7 years. They say those people might be ready to make a move. So everyone you know has a number on their head. Everyone. I want you to think of that. People that just bought a house. We should be asking those people, hey, now that you're moving in, so how long do you think you're going to end up staying in this house? Oh, until I die. Some people are like, oh, this is our 8-year plan. I mean, my house right now, we just bought this house. I absolutely love it. But 8 years is our goal. We are hightailing it out of here in 8 years. We do not want to retire here. So 8 years, we'll be moving somewhere different. Now, could something else come up ahead of time? Sure. I hope there's a realtor staying in touch with me in case my husband decides to take a job somewhere else before we retire. But all of your clients have a number over their head, and I hope you know what the number is. And then first to second. So again, this is establishing the buying power. So you've talked about buyer agency. You've articulated your value. You've set expectations, and you totally understand their time frame. If I could tell, oh my gosh, if I could tell you one thing to key in on with buyers, that's probably more important than anything else you do. It's when are they going to be homeless? Are they an A? They have a need between 30 and 45 days. And they know the deadline? They have a deadline, like the lease is up and they're not able to go month to month, or their house is under contract and it's closing in 45 days, or they're being transferred in. So you need to know, they can be an A, B, or a C, but they don't always have a deadline. Like somebody might be an A. I'm already pre-approved. I have my loan papers. I have my down payment. I'm living with mom and dad without a mortgage payment. So even though they could buy today, doesn't mean they will. You really have to make sure you key in on the true motivation of why they're moving. And if they are moving that quickly, I hope you're talking to them daily, at least every other day, seeing, do you have any additional questions? What do you think about the properties that I showed you? Do you have any questions? Hey, I found this property. It fits everything that you filled out on the criteria sheet. When can you get there? I say we go Saturday. You up for it? Just, keeping the ball moving forward with these folks. Second to third base, now they're showing up. They're going to look at homes. Make sure you ask them right out of the gate. As soon as you get with a new buyer, I encourage you to say, listen, you're actually searching in a price range that's very popular right now, which means if it comes on the market, there could be several other people that have been also waiting for something new to come on the market. So just so I know, I'm going to be sending you properties that come up daily. So would you ever be able to go during lunch, during the workday, or are you only available nights and weekends? I just want to get a feel so I totally am prepared as properties come up as to your availability. That helps you realize that, hey, I got someone that can't even go during the week. Right now in the wintertime, a lot of people aren't showing homes at 5 or 6 o'clock at night because it's already pitch dark. So a lot of times when we have these winter months, a lot of your showing time is during the day if they can sneak out from work, or it's on weekends. But it's good to know that right out of the gate, because then you can try to set those appointments up for those weekends. And if you're working with an A client, that's a win situation for you. And then third base to home is when you're under contract. And so here's where you're making sure everything's following up. And I ensure you to stay connected with them via video or a phone call as much as possible. So now they're a past client. And what are you doing to maximize your return? So how many clients do you intentionally try to gather from each new client? And then think about getting those referrals for anybody in their sphere of influence, not necessarily someone that needs to buy or sell today. Who can you introduce yourself and your service to in your business for the long haul? So I want you to think about, I want to be an option, all things real estate, to as many people as possible. So every time you meet someone new, I encourage you to try to introduce yourself and your service to 3 or 4 people that they know, right? And I'll talk about ways to do that in the next couple of weeks. So here's a little sheet, and this sheet actually people print out and they utilize this. They put this in the front of their folder. So in the beginning, they figure out all the information. What's their email, cell phone? When do they need to close? If you don't have a close date in mind for people, I actually used to hand people a calendar. So when we would have our strategy session, if we were in December, I'd probably open the calendar to January, and I would hand them the calendar and say, okay, excellent. So circle the date that we need to get you in the house by. And then I would just kind of sit there. And I'd hand them the calendar, and I'd just kind of look, and I'd wait. And you can tell from their body language. So if they kind of sit back and they're like, well, we have plenty of time, it's fine. I'm not going to change someone's motivation. I just need to know what it is, because that's going to determine my level of follow-up and how much I stay connected with them and what information I provide them to move them toward their moving date. So I'm going to communicate with them. If they say, listen, oh, actually, here, January, nope, February, March 30th, that's when our lease is up. March 30th, and they circle March 30th, I'm going to say, fantastic. That gives us perfect amount of time. As things are going to come on and off the market now, you're going to get a really good sampling, and we'll be able to really narrow down exactly what you're looking for, and we'll be able to keep our finger on the pulse of the inventory that's coming and going on the market. So I'm actually glad that we're not under pressure that you have to be in something in 2 weeks. That would be very scary right now. So see, you can play off of any time frame. So we're going to confirm their time frame. We're going to be excited no matter what the time frame is. It doesn't matter. I want a closing in March 30th, just like I want one January 1st. And then if they say, ooh, like we cannot go month to month and our lease is up January 15th, you're gonna be like, all right, we got some work to do. We got to roll our sleeves up, figure out our strategy session, and get you the house of your dreams, because I want to make sure you not only find the home you want, but more importantly, want the home you get. So we're going to drill down. We're going to create a specific strategy session just for you, and I'm super excited. So whatever it is, it's their time frame. We don't try to change it. It is what it is, but now we understand how to follow up with them effectively, how to run our business instead of just running around, right? We want to run a business, not run around. So this is how on first base, see, when are they meeting with the lender? Oops, I wasn't ready to go there yet. When are they meeting with the lender? What's their approval amount? What type of loan are they doing? How many days needed to close the loan? What are the closing costs? Where's the down payment coming from? You know, these are some of these questions you can ask them. How long have you been working in your job? And you can ask your lender, hey, what are 5 questions I need to be asking every buyer? My lender used to tell me, hey, you need to ask this, 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 and this before I need to be calling them. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. You know, I had my 4 questions and I knew what to ask. And then once I got through those 4 questions and I got the answers I needed, then I'd have my lender call. So your lender needs to be a big partner for you. And they should be doing a lot of these phone calls for you. And then you should be able to just do weekly follow-ups with your lender on where they are and getting the information from the client. And so this is just a couple of things here. Some examples, real estate rewards action. So that's my 3-hour class, and I'm not sure how many minutes this was, but hopefully you're still on here and I haven't put you to sleep. But this is what I wanted to outline. Let's play ball. And what I'm going to do moving forward is provide specific strategies based off of each leg of the bases. And I hope that you'll get some nuggets. I'll have some handouts. I'll have some checklists. I'll have some tools. So what I would really like for you to do right now is consider going through every human that you have in your database and really give it some top analysis and see who's going to buy a house in 2018 that you already know or that you think might be. Who are leads in your database that you're like, I don't even know how they got in here. I don't know who they are, because I'm going to give you specific strategies on how to effectively reach out to those people and how you can get some engagement. Everything's about engagement. So all the strategies we're going to talk about, none of it matters if you can't engage with people. So we'll talk about specific strategies for that. So right now, just compile your numbers. And what I'd like to see in the group is put in there, hey, I got 50 people that I don't know who they are. I don't know when they came into my database, but I'm willing to try to shake the trees and see if I can get some engagement in 2018. So let me know your numbers. And then I want you to start thinking about using the diamond to put your people, code them. How many buyers do you have and where are they in the bases? So I have another sheet that I utilize, and I'll go ahead and put this up and show you, and then I'll add it to the group. Sorry, I'm leaning in because I can't see. So I have these tracking forms, and so these you can actually print. It's going to open here. There. So you can print like one of these and use one with each of your clients, and then here's one. And what I would like for you to do is analyze how many people do you have that have just walked into your world and said, hey, I think I want to buy a house. So maybe you pick 10 internet leads that you're like, all right, they're opportunities. I don't know who they are yet, but I'm going to start the process. So I have 10 people on home base. Or maybe you already have 3 or 4 buyers that you're working with. How many people are in the approval process? How many people are getting approved? How many people are actively speaking with a lender in your world? How many people up here at the top in second base, how many people are you showing properties? Put their name up here. Put their name up here and when you're showing properties. And then how many people do you have under contract? Those would be the people over here on third base. And then your dugout is what's the number of people in your database. So these are just some tracking forms, and I'll load these into the group. And I hope that you'll, key into this. The people that use this, and I have a lot. I've been teaching this for several years now. They really like it, and everybody's kind of adapted it to the way they work. But I can go up to people and say, hey, how many people you got on first base? And it's kind of a joke. It's like, oh shoot, I don't have anybody. Yikes. And so it puts that sense of urgency that, oh yeah, I need to be having some active buyers right now. So anyway, it's a good thing that I've seen used. I used to use it. I loved it. It really helped me take my buyers through a high quality process, starting with that strategy session. I used to set all kinds of expectations with my folks so they knew what to expect. And that's what I'm going to try to help you do so that you win with buyers and ultimately get a lot more referrals from your buyers because you do spend more time with them. So I hope that was beneficial tonight. Let me know. Give me some comments. Give me some feedback. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And I really look forward to, I'll probably be doing a lot more posting over the next couple of weeks because we're going to wrap up now. And I've kind of been slack the last week and a half. Had some crazy stuff going on. So I'm excited to hear your thoughts. And I hope you all have a good night. And look for more probably tomorrow. So try to go ahead and get this homework assignment done. What's your number? How many people are you going to follow up with? I can't wait to hear, and y'all are doing great. And we'll talk to you later. Have a good night. See ya. Bye.